Hello, everyone. My name is John Brenneman, and I'm the president here at MOA Vacations, and we're joined today with Jeff Bont from Tauck. Thank you all for joining us today. Before we get started, just a couple of things. We are recording today's webinar, so probably tomorrow morning you will get an email from us. It will include a link to this webinar. So we started right on the top of the hour. So if there's anything that is said that you want to revisit, just make a note of the time. And then when you get a copy of the webinar, instead of watching the entire thing, for example, if it's 35 minutes after the hour, you can fast forward 35 minutes into the presentation and see that section again. You are invited on everything we're going to talk about today to bring friends and family along. So when you receive this webinar, if there's someone you want to share it with, please do so. We'd love it. If you'd like them to come along, we'd love them to come along as well. Just kind of a quick format. I'm going to talk real quick about MOA Vacations. We had over 265, 268 people sign up for this webinar. A number of you, this is the first webinar that you are attending. So I just want to talk real quick about MOA Vacations, who we are, and what makes us kind of unique as amongst travel agencies. So I'm going to talk quickly, then I'm going to turn it over to Jeff. Jeff's going to talk about Tauck and everything they offer, small ship cruising, river cruising, tours, family travel. There's a lot to go over today in one webinar. While Jeff is talking, I will be available. If you put your mouse or your cursor at the bottom of the screen, you'll see little conversation bubbles under which it says Q&A. Feel free to type any questions in there that you might have. If it's a question that I think everybody would be interested in the answer to, even if I answer it during Jeff's presentation, we will revisit that at the end. So, and then when Jim gets done, excuse me, when Jeff gets done, we'll do a Q&A to answer all the questions that you guys have about Tauck and any of the things that Jeff's going to share with us today. So real quick, MOA Vacations, for those of you who are not familiar with us, we are the official travel agency of the MOAA, which of course is the Military Officers Association of America. And the four things we really talk about that kind of set us apart, first off is our superior concierge level of service. I could talk a while about this, but the easiest way to sum it up is we are and we continue to be the only travel agency in the country that sells travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. And that means basically what it says: if you book travel through us and you have any issues, problems, concerns, either before you travel or while you're traveling, we will resolve that to your satisfaction. We do have a lowest price guarantee, and in fact, in some cases, we do have prices that are lower that you could get direct from the vendor or from other travel agencies. And then we have a free amenity program. And if you saw the information either in, excuse me, Military Officer Magazine, or perhaps the email invitation that we sent out, that free amenity, which we have on almost 30 different cruise lines and tour companies with Tauck, we're going to talk a little bit more about during the presentation, but that's that complimentary free pre or post night. And then the opportunity to travel with your fellow MOA members from across the country. So that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of what we offer above and beyond what your current travel agency may be offering. And we really want to invite you to give us the opportunity to provide a quote on your next vacation. We are vacation specialists. Talk to one of our agents, and I think you'll be impressed not only with the savings, the value that we provide, but with the professionalism that you are going to experience when you're working with our agents. So I know everybody came today not to hear me talk, but to hear Jeff. So Jeff, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend the afternoon with us. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bont, Tauck.
Well, John, thank you. I think you actually stole some of the thunder here. You know, we're going to talk about value, and we are going to talk about partnerships, and we're going to talk about discovering the world with Tauck. So I'm very fortunate. As John introduced me, my name is Jeff Bont. I'm one of our national sales managers for Tauck. And I always like to start off and say that I have the privilege of telling a story that's been 99 years in the making. And I just want to be able to share my passion for travel and share just what I think today is a wonderful story that Arthur Tauck started in 1925. So when we get to January, we're going to be beginning our 100th year in travel. And if you think about it, if you look back and think about all the things that we've been through in the world, the fact that Tauck has been continuously operating for 100 years says just a little bit. But I want to go back to this picture that you're seeing on the screen and just share with you. This was the very first tour that Arthur Tauck took out from New York City up to the White Mountains of New Hampshire in 1925. And when he started the company, he had really three simple values that were important to him that have resonated throughout the Tauck family, because we do continue to be a family-owned company. And they're very simple. To do the right thing, because of course that's the right thing to do, with trust and integrity, and with a pioneering spirits. As we were kind of preparing for this presentation, you know, John had mentioned that many of the MOA members and that he has talked to over the last several weeks since this was published that we were going to have this talk today, have said to John, why did, you know, we're excited that you have Tauck as part of one of your partners now, and we equally see that the value of being partners with MOA Vacations and partnering with John. And we want to make sure that we continue to share our values and make sure that when you travel, your investment in travel is going to be with somebody that you can trust with a little bit of integrity. And I think what you'll see today throughout this is that you'll see how we've kind of progressed our product over the years. But we have one simple purpose when we have guests travel with us, and that is to enhance lives through travel. And I don't think that I know we don't take this lightly, because many companies say that they will enhance lives through travel, and travel is one of those things that you can do that is priceless. But what we want to do is to take you to see things and experience things that you wouldn't have the privilege to do unless you were traveling with Tauck and taking advantage of our 99 years of a destination experience. So today I'm going to take you through that. I'm going to walk you through this a little bit and just share with you what makes Tauck different and why you would choose to travel with us to one of our 7 continents, to one of the 70 countries we visit, and over the 220 different tour itineraries that we offer. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to go through every itinerary, but I'm going to give you today just some highlights of what makes traveling with Tauck a little bit different. It doesn't help a little bit to brag up at the very beginning of our presentation. And for the last 26 years, Tauck has been voted by the readers of Travel and Leisure magazine as the world's best tour company. And I'll give you some more ideas of why that's important. But I also just want to interject and insert in here that we're not just a tour company. We also own river vessels that we operate in Europe. And this year, we were also recognized by the readers of Travel and Leisure magazine to be the world's best river cruise company. So lots of things to think about, lots of places to go. And I'm going to just continue to walk through a few different slides here. Now, if we were all together in a room, I would ask you to raise your hand and just indicate how many of you have taken the opportunity to visit Rome, and you've taken that tour of the Vatican and have the privilege to walk through the Sistine Chapel. Now, I like this slide because I really like to differentiate Tauck as, and if you have been, you likely didn't see the Sistine Chapel in this way. This is one of our Tauck guests in the Sistine Chapel after hours. Today, there were over 20,000 people who lined up to go into the Vatican Museum and to walk through the Sistine Chapel. And I see a few of you have raised your hand and said you've been here. But what you likely experienced was a long line, you got shuffled through, and you were told not to take photos. And when you travel with Tauck, these other types of experiences we give you. We go into the Sistine Chapel after hours when there are not other guests in there. We go into the Louvre after hours. We take you into King Tut's tomb after hours. Because of our 100 years of partnerships, because of the way our partners value us, they give us experiences that you can't get if you travel with other tour companies. So just, if I have nothing else to say, just remember this photo. Remember the Tauck difference and the way we're going to take you to see things the way only Tauck can take you out there to see. I'm just going to build on a little bit about what our private cultural experiences really look like and what they feel like. So if you look at the picture on the left-hand side of this particular slide, this is a visit that I took on a Tauck River cruise. We had been in Rotterdam during the day, and then in the evening, we took 88 Tauck guests up to The Hague to the museum that houses the girl with the pearl earring. At this exact moment, the docent who was leading us through the museum shared with us that how privileged we were to be with her that particular evening after hours, to have 15 minutes in this room with this docent seeing this picture from the 1600s. Because earlier in the day, there were lines to see this painting, just as they are at the Louvre with the Mona Lisa, etc. And we were able to be in that room. But I will also say that at Tauck, we always say small is big. And there were 88 guests on this particular river cruise that we were on. And we were split up into 4 small groups of 22 guests with 4 different docents leading us through the museum to get this very intimate experience after hours at the museums. And as I mentioned, these are the things that we do at places like the Louvre, etc. And I just want to encourage you to join Tauck if you haven't already done so, and have these types of experiences. Now, this is where I wanted to share with you this quick story of this photograph. This is one of our Tauck tour directors with Tauck guests, just taking them a little bit deeper, making local connections, and making a difference in the way you experience those destinations that you want to travel with Tauck. I will share with you, recently we had a company town hall, and Arthur Tauck, who's the 2nd generation family member who ran the company, brought on one of our guests who had just traveled with us 56 times. That's pretty amazing if you think about it. Somebody to find 56 tours that he traveled to with Tauck. And he asked that guest what keeps him coming back to Tauck over and over and over again. And it was interesting because this guest, his name was Bill. Bill looked at Arthur and said very coyly, "You know, Arthur, you're not the only company that I travel with." However, what he did share is that the reason he chooses to travel with Tauck over and over and over again and to trust Tauck to give them these experiences is because of the Tauck tour directors. And really the main reason that we have been voted over and over again, 26 years straight, as one of the world's best tour company, because our tour directors specialize in the regions they travel to, and they're going to give you time savings. They're going to be able to answer questions, because we know that many of you have waited a lifetime to be able to go experience those destinations, and we want to give you an experience like no other. But it is our tour directors that make the biggest difference. There's one final difference, I think, that really sets Tauck apart, and that is our focus on giving you closer connections with locals. The example I would share with you is I was on the Tauck River cruise, on the same one where we're in Rotterdam. We were just up above Amsterdam on cruising the Dutch waterways on a Tauck River vessel. And I signed up that day for the tour that took us up to Friesland. If you know the name Friesland, this is where the region of Holland or that specializes in raising Friesland horses. These big, beautiful, gray, kind of blackish horses who had this beautiful gait. But here I was sitting in where all my ancestors came from, in Friesland, in a farmer's home who raises horses, with just 18 Tauck guests, getting to know the way they live, getting to know how they raise these horses and how important it is to their region to just continue to share the heritage of these Friesland horses. So we're going to take you deeper. When we're in Africa, you're going to be eating with local chefs who are going to be sharing recipes who had been in their family for 3 and 4 centuries. And they're going to tell you how they make the food, what you're tasting with all the different spices, and how their ancestors used to cook the food. So we're just going to take you a little bit closer. We're going to take you a little bit deeper. Now, when you hear of Tauck, you might think about escorted touring. What I like to say is that we provide guided vacations. What we've done over the years, and this is kind of that first slide that I shared with you where we have our pioneering spirits. Well, what Tauck has been known for almost 99 years is our classic journeys. Those journeys that we average 38 guests on. We set a limit of between 42 and 44 guests. So we would never put 49 or 52 guests on a 56 passenger motor coach. We want to make sure all of our guests are comfortable and they're getting an experience on not something that is too large. So again, that theme of small is big is very important to us. Now, as a result of COVID, and result of feedback that we get from our partners, such as MOA Vacations and John Brenneman, we continue to adjust our product. So in 2023, we actually had more guests travel with us on a Tauck small group, which averages just 24 guests, than we actually do on our classic journeys. And because we see the trends of the travel industry, because of COVID, people want to be with even smaller groups. And in 2025, with MOA Vacations, you will be able to book a Tauck trip that just has an average of 15 guests. So again, at the end, I'm going to share the information for you to contact MOA Vacations. So whichever way you want to go out and have a guided vacation throughout the world, we feel we're going to be able to give you an experience that is going to fit your needs in the way that you choose to travel. So our classic journeys at 38, our small journeys at 24, and our smaller groups that average 15 guests. So I'm going to get into a little bit of product now. I appreciate your time and patience, but I'm just very passionate about the way our guests get to travel with Tauck. This particular slide is just highlighting Tauck's and the Tauck family's connection that they have with the U.S. national parks. In fact, 80% of our North American programs would touch a U.S. national park. The Tauck Family Foundation actually gives back. And this is one picture of this particular building and this structure sitting here. And I believe the Grand Tetons, that they've actually provided funding to make sure that this structure continues to form this beautiful backdrop of this picture. So you, your family, and your family after that will be able to go to the national parks and experience these same things that you've experienced. So our base in 1925, our first tour was in New England. We've built into the 1960s where we started going to Hawaii. That continues to be one of our top sellers. And we've just had this strong connection with the U.S. national parks. So as you're traveling throughout the U.S. and you want to take one of our guided vacations, our North American product is very important. This is our top selling program. This is our America Canyonlands program, where we would start in Phoenix at the Four Seasons, go up to Sedona. We have the privilege to go to Zion, to Bryce, go to Lake Powell, and just experience the wonderful U.S. national parks, especially those red rocks of the desert Southwest, where we will end in Las Vegas at the Four Seasons as well. And this is our top selling program. But keep us in mind, we have a lot of other national parks programs and a lot of other land programs in New Orleans and Charleston and throughout the New England regions that we feel we're going to be the top tour operator for you as you're making that choice to travel with us still yet in 2024 or into 2025. Now, this is one of my favorite photographs. This is one that I pulled out of our archives, and it just gives you an indication of how different it is to travel with Tauck. Throughout the pandemic, we found that the national parks were really popular. And what many tour operators started experiencing is the U.S. national parks were full, and they found it very difficult to get space in the U.S. national parks. So many tour operators in the morning, they're driving into the parks. In the afternoon, they're driving out of the parks to stay in their hotel. And to me, this just exemplifies a Tauck guest being able to sit back, enjoy a sunset, maybe have dinner, maybe enjoy a drink, and have the experience of not having to drive in and out of the national parks. So having access to hotels, having partnerships that give us unique access to various properties, you're just going to have a much better and different experience with us. Now, again, if I had the time and we were face to face, I would probably ask you to raise your hand and just share with me, when do you think Tauck started going to Europe? The answer is, one that I thought before I joined the company is Tauck probably started going to Europe in the early 1970s. But in fact, the first tour that we took to Europe was in 1990. So really not that long ago when you think about a company history from 1925. But Europe now is our #1 selling destination throughout the world. And we feel, again, with our classic journeys, our small groups, and now our smaller groups, we're going to have a tour style and a tour destination that's going to fit with where you want to go. Our top selling program is our Classic Italy program, which is our 14-day, 13-night program from Venice all the way down to the Amalfi Coast. This will give you that comprehensive tour from April through October to travel with Tauck, to get the inside access in Rome, to have those after-hours experiences and enjoy the Tauck tour directors who specialize in this area. What we've also learned, there's another 10 programs in Italy that we offer. So if you want to go to just Sicily, if you want to go to just the Cinque Terre region, if you want to just specialize on an 8-day or 7-night program, please reach out to Mo Vacations and have them share with you how they can work into your schedule, work with your travel plans to have the perfect trip to Italy on one of our 11 different programs in Italy. So I don't really have a lot of time today to go through more product, but please check us out and look at all the destinations we go, because we're going to take great care of you. In addition to our Europe programs, our Tauck river vessels. We started operating river cruise programs in Europe on the inland waterways of Europe about 20 years ago. But there's a distinct difference when you travel with Tauck on a Tauck river cruise. There are other river cruise companies and other river cruise brands that you may be familiar with, and we know who those might be. But I'm just going to give you a quick idea of what all-included river cruising means, and there's a big difference. First, you'll see the Tauck river vessel here. Most river vessels, or as many companies refer to them to as long ships, are the same length because they have to fit into the locks, into the dams, the locks, excuse me. Our vessel here, as you'll see, is 440 feet in length, but the difference is a Tauck river vessel averages 122 guests, with the maximum size of guests at 130 guests. So if the ships are the same length and they're the same width, you have to assume that a Tauck River vessel at just 130 guests maximum would be have larger staterooms, larger common areas, and give you a more intimate and more casual experience. As you can see at the top left-hand side of the screen, there's a difference of all-included river cruising, though. When you book with MOA Vacations and you book to travel with Tauck, you will the cruise fare that you pay will be the only thing you pay from that point going forward. There are no hidden fees. There are no port charges, no taxes. Everything is included in our cost. Most importantly, though, and let's talk about from where the tour starts, there's private airport transfers. In fact, on Sunday, I'm departing my hometown here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and flying to Munich to begin a Tauck River cruise. When I arrive in Munich, I will be greeted on my pre-night hotel stay by a gentleman holding a sign with my name, and he will walk me out, and I will have a private transfer to my first hotel. And keep in mind, this is also a pre-night hotel. Many river cruise companies make you buy their airfare to get their transfers, which are not private. Ours are private. And what I expect and what I've shared with my wife, who's joining me for the first time, is that there will likely be a Mercedes, either a Mercedes Sprinter or a Mercedes sedan, picking me up with a private car, private driver, taking us to our Tauck hotel to begin our trip. When I wake up in the morning, I can have a glass of champagne. Probably won't do that. I can have a martini at lunch. I can have a Manhattan before dinner. I'll have wine during dinner, and then I can go to the lounge and I can get a after dinner drink. All the beverages are included throughout. You don't have to buy a drink package with us to get that. But we really want to make this convenient for you. We don't want you to have to feel like you have to reach into your pocket over and over again. So all gratuities are included. From the time you meet your driver to the time you meet the staff in the lounge, your room attendant, the Tauck staff on board in the dining rooms, as well as all of our local hosts who are going to take us through the local region. So all the step-on guides inclusions will be included as well. But most importantly, all of your excursions are going to be included. So when you travel with Tauck, you'll have a choice of a walking tour and a more active adventure each day, and or a trip out to the countryside, which could be 8 to 10 to 12 hours, where lunch would be included. So there are no additional fees or any additional costs to do it. Again, I just want to give you an idea of what our beautiful vessels look like. You are only traveling with Tauck guests on board. So again, a very casual, a very intimate experience. Again, our shore excursions, I just want to draw your eyes over to the left-hand side of the screen and just point out that my first Tauck River cruise was last June. I arrived in Passau, boarded the ship, and that next morning I took that walking tour of Passau. When I walked up the ship, 36 of the 122 guests had signed up for the walking tour. The rest were doing an active adventure or going out to the countryside. And we were split up into 3 small groups. So again, small is big. This is my group. This is our local host who's given us a tour of Passau. And there were just 12 of us in that group. So I didn't feel like I was in part of a big group. In fact, I saw some other river cruise companies who had their guests, and they were in larger groups of 30 and 40 people. So again, small is big with us. We offer the bike tours, and on many days, we're going to have some surprise and delight moments, and you will have excursions that are not in the itinerary, but we'll take you out just as we did here. And I have one of our smiling Tauck guests enjoying raising the mast of a early 1900 schooner, and we were helping sail the crew members on this boat. So again, our excursions are going to be a little bit different than other vessels. This is one of our Category 6 staterooms. The beds facing forward, 2 large double doors where you can get some fresh air, have the French balcony. Our Category 7 staterooms actually have walk-in closets. But one of the innovative things we've done on the river vessel is to have our Category 3 stateroom, which is this very innovative loft stateroom where you get to sit and view the Rhine, the Danube, the Seine rivers from a very unique standpoint in a viewpoint in our Category 3 staterooms. Beautifully appointed, unique, where you're sitting up above the water. That window that you see actually goes up 2 levels higher. So again, MOA Vacations can help you choose out the perfect category that fits your budget and the experience that you want to have while you're traveling with Tauck. Now, one of the important things that we're seeing, there's a big trend. There's a lot more solo travelers of late. So when you travel with Tauck on a river cruise, you can book with MOA Vacations, and we will waive the single supplement in our Category 1 staterooms. It is important, though, that there are only 4 Category 1s at each ship. So if you're solo travel and you want the best availability, call and book early and book often so you can get the space that you want. We also have solo savings on our land journeys, and we're going to be able to give you experiences with our Tauck tour directors that are very good just bringing the groups together and giving everybody an experience that they feel like they're welcomed and they can leave all their worries behind. One of my favorite photos of any of the slides that I've shared today is this beautiful photo of taking a safari with Tauck on one of our exotic programs. We have 6 different itineraries in East Africa. We have 5 itineraries in South Africa. One of our newest ones, if you've been to Africa before, is to go to Namibia with us. We offer great savings over other luxury tour operators in this region. We have the best guides, we have the best partnerships, and we work very hard to give you a great experience on a Tauck Africa safari or any of our other exotic programs like Egypt, where we'll take you after hours to see King Tut's tomb, and we're the only tour operator that gives you these types of experiences. We also partner on a small ship program. Here you'll see a picture of one of the Bont yachts, and we at times will take out the entire ship and charter the entire ship, or we may have a block of rooms on the ship. But what makes small ship cruising to Greece, to Antarctica, to the Baltics, to Lake Michigan, what makes small ship cruising different with Tauck? It is the fact that we are all inclusive. So when you go on a shore excursion, which Tauck is included in the fare, they're Tauck excursions. They're not excursions that the other guests on board the ship are taking. We've included your drink packages, we've included your gratuities, and on each ship, for each 30 Tauck guests, there will be 1 Tauck tour director to take care of you. So the likelihood of having to go to the front desk ever and just reaching out to the Tauck tour director just gives you that similar service that John talked about, that concierge service that you've come to expect with MOA Vacations. We're going to provide that for you on our small ship programs. We partner with Bont. I'm sure you've heard of the French line Bont. We partner with Silversea, Windstar, and one of our programs where we stay on our Egypt programs is with Metropolitan Touring. Please keep us in mind for our small ship programs. Now, what we learned also 20 years ago, but what became very important to families after COVID, was to have shared experiences. In many cases, you likely went without seeing your family members, and we wanted to help you bridge those generations of travel with our Tauck Bridges program. So we are the leaders, we are the innovators of family generational travel. Maybe you've heard of Adventures by Disney. We kind of led the way. We were the first in this market. But what we want to provide to you is family experiences where you can have time with the grandparents, the parents, and the grandchildren, and have memories to last a lifetime. Again, one of my favorite photos that I'm sharing today is this is our Sweet Life of Sorrento. So our Sweet Life of Sorrento program is 3 nights in Rome, private access, again, after hours to the Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel. We take the high-speed train down from Rome down to the Amalfi Coast. When we go over to Capri, for example, we're going to take you on a boat ride over to Capri. But this isn't like taking a guided vacation or an escorted tour where we have a waiting motor coach. When we arrive to Capri, we're going to have a convertible waiting for each family group and take them out to have a unique experience. I don't know too many 8-year-olds to 18-year-olds who want to be on a motor coach, but boy, would they love to be in a convertible experiencing that with us. At night, the typical experiences would be, as you can see here, the kids would go over to an Italian restaurant and learn to make their very authentic pizzas. They get to roll out the dough. They get to flip it. They get to put the toppings on there. They get to slide the pizzas into the oven, eat the fruits of their labor. We fill them full of gelato, and we send them back to the grandparents and the parents who have been in a complete separate restaurant, having a kind of a curated kind of gourmet dinner with wine and getting some time, just some adult time. So our Tauck Bridges program, if you're looking at doing a family trip together, if you have 8 guests and you book through MOA Vacations, for 8 paid guests, the 9th person travels for free. If you had 16 people paying, we would give you 2 complimentary trips. So again, call MOA Vacations, get them to book your family journey on one of our programs in Italy or throughout the world, even our safari programs. John, I'm about to wrap it up here. I'm going to kind of go into what's in it for the MOA member and what's in it to book through MOA Vacations. We do currently have our Takeoff with Tauck program, which is our reduced air or our set rate, one flat price air to Europe. Believe me, I'm flying to Europe with my family on Sunday, and the prices I paid for air are much higher than this. But our economy air is $790, our premium economy air is $1590, and our business class air, if you booked business class air, you know these are $5,000 fares or more, are $3,890. And you can use this on all of our Europe land vacations or river and small ship cruises. In our Bridges program, if you're going to be traveling from October 1 through November 30th, but you must book this with MOA Vacations by July 31st. Finally, before we open it up to some questions, anytime that you book with MOA Vacations, you will receive as a MOA member the complimentary pre or post night stay on any one of your 2024 or 2025 Tauck journeys. Those pre and post night hotels, if you priced out hotels in Rome and Paris and London, anywhere throughout the world, they're as high as $800 or $900. And John, he beat me up. He said, you got to give MOA members a good offer, and we're giving you a great offer, and we're going to give you a complimentary pre or post night stay. So John, I hope I didn't go over my stay. I get a little bit passionate.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting you brought that up. Somebody said something, last week, the last couple of weeks, I was escorting a couple of MOA groups to Paris and Normandy. So I had the opportunity on each one of those sailings to talk to over 100 members. And a number of people echoed something that was one of the questions we got, or not even really a question, just a statement of how happy they are that we're now working with Tauck. And I didn't have the numbers when I was on the cruise, but I looked at it when I got back. Our computer system only goes back to 2001 because that's when we switched computer systems. But we were booking Tauck back in 2001, which is over 20 years ago. And during that time, we've helped hundreds of MOA members book on Tauck. So this isn't anything new that we're doing. What's new is, I use Jeff's terms, I beat him up, and we now have this MOA exclusive amenity. So we've always been able to sell Tauck, and we always have. We just haven't promoted them a lot. But now that Jeff and Tauck are offering this, phenomenal program of the free pre or post, and having just been in Europe, I'm going to tell you the hotel prices over there are very high. So yeah, a free pre-night or a post night is a huge savings to you. A couple of the other questions we have, and just as a reminder, someone asked this question. We are going to send everybody, we're going to take this webinar, we're going to upload it to, we have a MOA Vacations YouTube channel. So we will upload it to the YouTube channel. And then as late as it is into the day, that will be done tonight, most likely by that team. And then so tomorrow morning we'll send out an email. So you will have a email which will include a link to that so you can view this again or share it with someone if you would like to. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And so you put the reading glasses on. We had a couple of people that asked about single supplements, and that is a huge segment of MOA membership. There's over 60,000 surviving spouses. So, I mean, I know you kind of went over that, Jeff. Interesting, the questions came in right before you hit that screen, which went in with the, the couple of cabins on all the sailings and everything else. Is there anything else you'd like to address on that, or should we just direct people to either use the phone number or the email address that's on the screen now, and they can ask specific questions about specific types of trips, small ship, river cruise, land package, or specific destinations and get specific information for where they want to go?
Yeah, so the simplest one, John, is just our river cruises that we do set aside those 4 cabins. I did say, book early, book often, because we only set aside 4 of those. But if somebody doesn't want to be in a category 1 and they want to be in one of our suites, we offer additional solo savings on those that wouldn't be a complete waive, but we do want to encourage single travelers. On each one of our destinations, we actually have some dates where our hotel partners will work with us and waive the cost of a room and assist us in that. So it's always best just to call your travel partner, MOA Vacations, and let them work their magic by working with our reservations team to find the best availability, the best rooms, and the best deals for the members.
Excellent. Yeah, and I mentioned we've been selling Tauck for a while, but part of one of the things we always do when we have these kind of, I would just call it an enhanced partnership, or we actually kind of call them a preferred partnership, is last week. Was it last week or this week? I guess it was this week. Earlier this week, Jeff did kind of a refresher training with everyone. So even though we have agents who've been selling Tauck for years, knowing that we were going to do this webinar, I think I mentioned at the beginning, we had over 265 people sign up for this. That was the number about an hour before we started. Knowing that we were going to have that number of calls and emails, Jeff took time out of his schedule not only to join us today, but to do training again, or retraining, I guess is a better word, or refresher training. I don't know, Jeff, what would you call it? Some kind of training with everyone.
They're reminders.
Reminders.
I will say that being a travel advisor, I've never been on that side of the desk, but travel advisors, you have to know the world, you have to know policies, and you have to know procedures. And a little reminders here and there help you just keep those tools sharp and ready to serve your guests. So,
Gotcha. Speaking of which, I was trying to think of this when I was on one of the cruises the last couple of weeks. How long have we known each other? Because I know we've crossed paths in the past. I don't know if I want to say that I've been in business. I've been in this industry for 35 years, but
well, I'll just put it this way. Back when I had hair was when we met the first time. So, but what I will say, it was as I started probably right around when you did, 1990. I remember coming to Kansas City and meeting your father, who was a affable but big, intimidating man, and I'm trying to act like I knew what was going on in the travel business, but your father had taught a lot of us our way in the business. He's welcomed us into your agency. You have proven to be just as affable and just as well. You work hard for your guests, so
thank you.
And
All right.
expect a lot from us. But I've enjoyed working with you over the years, and we'll call it 34 years.
We'll just call it 34 years. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the serious stuff. Here's an interesting question. Somebody asked if the land tours are as all-inclusive as the cruises. So I'm not sure if you
Yes.
want to
The
address that.
only difference on the land tours, and actually I did another training for another agency yesterday, and I'm still trying to find the answer, but the one big difference is that we do not include the gratuities for our tour directors, because we find it important that our tour directors should prove themselves to be of value, and we just ask our guests to give the gratuities on the tour to the tour directors on our land programs. Now, on a safari where you have multiple touches, on a river cruise where there's so many different touches, we want to make it simple so you don't feel like you always have to reach into your pockets. Now, one of the big things and the big differences, and I've worked for, as you know, John, a couple of different tour operators. Many tour operators will say, yes, we're going to include breakfast for you, and we're going to include dinner for you. But typically on a what I call an average tour, you go to the dining room, you have breakfast, you get a menu that says the tour company's name on it, and it will be a limited menu for dinner or breakfast. When you go down with Tauck, you get handed the restaurant's menu. You get to order off of that menu. And if it's your choice and you want wine or a drink or a cocktail with dinner, you order it, you sign your name, and you go about your business without having to put down additional money for those. So we are a little bit, we're much more inclusive than other tour operators on our land programs. We will always have a sparkling evening or a sparkling event that you get a little bit dressed up for, and we have after hours. In Vienna, I'm going to be at the Pallavicini, a private palace, with members of the Vienna Resident Orchestra on July 29th. But it's just a beautiful experience, and you don't have to pay anything more for those experiences.
Excellent. Okay, and I think we have, oh, nope, whenever I say we got one final question, the other ones always come in, so I'm not going to jinx this. So I'm going to answer this one quiet first, and then Jeff, if you have anything you want to add, I'll give you time to do it at the end. But somebody just mentioned that they currently book Tauck directly, and what is the benefit of booking through MOA Vacations? And I guess I would refer back to the slides that I had at the very beginning of this presentation. And I'm just going to talk in general to begin with. And one of the things that we talk about is our concierge level of service. And I could talk about this in much greater detail, but I'm just going to hit two high points. The first thing is when we have our satisfaction guarantee. The industry average, and once again, I'm talking the industry average, is if you have a problem, you go through passenger relations or whatever that department may be called at that cruise line, and it's 6 to 8 weeks to get an answer. Our commitment to you is we'll get you an answer in 48 hours. And the reason we can do that is we partner with people like Jeff. And if you have a problem on any vendor, if you call that vendor, you are just one traveler. And even if you booked a handful of trips with them, you are still just one traveler who is calling and talking to somebody who is a frontline reservation agent. At MOA Vacations, 90+ % of the people, if you have a problem, you're going to talk to me directly. And that's because I have the relationship with Jeff and the Jeffs at all the other companies that you have. So you have a problem, you call me, I reach out to Jeff and I say, hey, Jeff, we've got, Mary or Tina or Tom or whoever it is has an issue we need to get taken care of. If you don't talk to me, you'll talk to our vice president, Mike Tyrell. There are instances where I'm on the road or, out of the office or whatever it is. And Mike, sometimes as vice president, knows a lot of the people that I know, and you'll talk to Mike. So even if you have an agent here, you work, whoever that is, if you have an issue or a concern, you go straight to the top. The other thing I want to talk about on service is trip insurance. I am licensed for insurance in all 50 states. Not a lot of people are at travel agency or not a lot of travel agencies have somebody who's licensed. But how that benefits you is if you have an insurance claim, I actually fill out the paperwork for you and then send it to you for signature. And the reason why I do that is twofold. Number one, it's easier for you. And I've done hundreds and hundreds of these claim forms, so I can do it quicker because anytime you do something with that repetition, you get better at it. But the key is to getting a claim paid is to submit the paperwork correctly the first time. That is the easiest time to get a claim paid. And so by me filling out the paperwork, I am sure that that claim form, when it's submitted, is done correctly. The second thing would be lowest price guarantee. You're not going to get it any cheaper by going to Tauck and going through us. There's never going to be a scenario where you are saving money by booking directly through Tauck. The third thing is we just talked about this is the fact that while we've been selling Tauck for 20 plus years, we've never promoted them before because in the past we did not have this exclusive MOA amenity. So now if you book direct with Tauck, and you book through us, you get that free pre-night or that post-night. And then something I didn't mention is the fact that we support MOA, and MOA is there on the Hill fighting for the rights of MOA members and all veterans. And we support MOA on both a national and local level. So by booking through MOA Vacations as compared to booking for Tauck, even if we didn't talk about the enhanced service, the free amenity is the fact that when you book through us, we support MOA on both a national and local level. Jeff, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
As you know, I'm probably the largest advocate of the travel agency community. But what I would add to this is you mentioned insurance. The first thing that pops up to me is the insurance, travel insurance specifically. The only people who ever need travel insurance is the ones who don't have it. Number two, that there are hundreds of different policies out there, and they cover different aspects of coverage. Some are age rated, some are price rated. But as a travel advisor, you get to work through those best options, and that brings more value because sometimes you can save clients lots of money on insurance and make sure they have the right policy to fit them by asking a few simple questions about past history, etc. Now, I will say when you book with Tauck and you buy the guest protection, that we have the best program, cancel for any reason, the lowest rates, but that may not be the best policy for you. So you and your advisors are going to help navigate not only insurance, but the first thing I also did is I don't know if I can see it here, but John has my phone number. He's not afraid to call me at 9 o'clock at night. So, and that's what a partnership is about. Just like the partnership that you have with MOA, John has that with us, and we're going to be your best advocate when you need us.
Gotcha. We did get a question. Someone who's a longtime Tauck traveler says he receives the gift of time free benefit. Yep. The amenity with MOA is not combinable with that. Did you want to talk about that real quick, Jeff?
It is not combinable with that. And the gift of time that Tauck offers for our alumni, our people who have traveled with us more than one time, they get our gift of time, but the gift of time expires on July 31st for the following year. Gotcha. If you have not booked and you still want to book for this year, you wouldn't get that because the gift of time when you book with Tauck directly is only good for 2025. So once July 31st comes along and you haven't booked your future trip and you just can't make your decision, and it gets to September 1st and you happen to call Tauck, they would say, sorry, we can't offer that to you because it's expired. By attending the webinars, by being part of MOA and working through MOA Vacations, we have opened that up, and as a past Tauck guest, you can book after the July 31st deadline. So again, there's value for our partnership that we're given a privilege that you wouldn't get other places.
So along that kind of thing, they could book a trip through us in June and then book a second trip in August, and through MOA, they would get that free pre or post night on both of those trips. Whereas, yes. Okay, so yeah, so if you're a long-time traveler and a multi-trip traveler, that it's not a one-off with us; it's an ongoing benefit.
It's an ongoing benefit.
Yeah, okay.
And there's no other ways to save what's out. Everybody pays the same price.
Gotcha. Yes, they do not discount. We're very well aware of that. Okay. Do you offer educational or themed tours with educational lectures or talks during the tours on the places you are visiting?
So, yes. And I would just give the example. I joined Tauck in my second week on the job. And John, I'm sorry I give long-winded answers. I'll make this one very succinct. I met a guest who had just returned from his 8th Tauck trip. And I asked him why he continues to travel with Tauck. And he said, because I'm traveling with people who are like-minded. Those are people who want to go deeper. They want to get more information, and they value Tauck to answer the questions that they have. For example, I like beer. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. And don't hold that against me, John.
I
But when I
don't.
boarded the ship in Passau, I had one thing specifically that I wanted to achieve in along the Danube, because I knew that there's a lot of beer history there. But the original formula of Budweiser is called Budweiser Budvar, a 17th century beer. I went to my tour director. Yes, is not as much as going deeper into the D-Day and some of the history throughout the world, but I really wanted to taste Budweiser Budvar for the first time, an old Czech beer. And not only did he know which city it was going to be in Bratislava, he knew the pub where it was going to be and walked me to that pub. So our tour directors are immersive. So if you come with something you want to learn, if you come with something a little bit deeper, again, you can always look through the itinerary, but we are going to take you a little bit deeper and give you value to feel like when you come back, you're going to have seen the things that you wanted to see.
Got it. Okay, so we got one more question, which is going to end us pretty much right on time. And this is going to be an easy one, I think. The question is, if the price goes down, do we get a credit? And isn't the answer is your prices aren't going to go down?
The only thing that would change maybe was airfare. And the beauty is that MOA Vacation is going to help you find the best airfare. We have an air department. I think with MOA Vacations, I think you book about 12% of your bookings with our air, because you're always out there looking for the best deals. Now, our price is our price, but the good news is when it's inclusive, you don't have to worry about paying anything more, but we don't lower our prices.
Yeah. They don't offer discounts. They don't lower their prices. So there you go. All righty. Wow, what a fun webinar. We need to do this more often.
I'm
Anyway,
in. If you can tell, I love talking travel.
there you go. Me too. People found that out on the 2 cruises I was on the last couple of weeks. That asked me one question, and I could tell they wanted to get up. I'm like, I'm almost done. Anyway, all righty. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We do a couple of these a month, so if this is your first one, maybe you'll join us again. But once again, we're going to upload this to our YouTube channel, and we will send everybody an email tomorrow, which will include a link to this. Feel free to share it with family and friends. And then on behalf of myself, everyone at MOA Vacations, everyone at MOA National, and everyone who attended today, Jeff, we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk with us. We know that you're very busy, and I'm going to turn it over to you for the last word.
Thank you. Just be safe, travel often, and see the world.
There you go. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot.